¿Qué tal? Buenas tardes. Me llamo Miguel Kirby. Soy ingeniero electrónico en la Marina. Hoy es el turno del curso de español general para presentarte. In this presentation, we will discuss the Spanish geography, the culture of Spain and Latin America, Australia's military relations with Spain, and also the Australia's relations with the Hispanic world. Firstly, we will talk about the geography of the Spanish-speaking world. Spain has no less than 50 provinces. Fortunately, we've broken it down for you with a whistle-stop tour of Spain's 17 diverse regions. In the north, along the coast of the Bay of Biscay and on the border with France, we have Galicia, Asturias, Cantabria, Basque Country, Navarra, and Aragon, regions famed for the El Camino Santiago, a pilgrim walk some 800 kilometers long, and for its cities, such as Pamplona. Wrapping around the coast of the Mediterranean are Catalonia, Valencia, Murcia, and Andalusia, a favourite among tourists from all over the world looking for a cultural and sunny holiday, from beaches to quaint whitewashed villages, flamenco to fiestas. It has it all, including the popular cities of Marbella and Sevilla. In central Spain lies the regions of Castilla y León, Extremadura, Castilla-La Mancha, Madrid, and Rioja. Its 500 plus wineries are internationally famous. Partial to a glass myself. You'll know Madrid as the country's capital, but it's also the name of the single province region. The city of Madrid sits right in the middle of it. Finally, we have the islands of the Balearics and the Canaries, and the Spanish cities of Ceuta and Melilla on the coast of Morocco. There are more than 534 million Spanish speakers in the world. Of those, there are more than 450 million native speakers of Spanish, making it second only to Chinese in the terms of the most spoken languages in the world. Did you know that in Spain there is a language called Silbo Gomero, which is made up entirely of whistling? It was developed as a way to communicate across the steep hills and valleys where it originated. I wonder what an argument sounds like in it. Information on Spanish-speaking countries of the world. There are 21 countries in the world that speak Spanish, or Spanish is the official language. This includes Spain, obviously, but it's also the official or national language in South America, including Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, Peru, Uruguay, and Venezuela. In Central America, we have the Spanish-speaking countries of Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, and Puerto Rico. And in the Caribbean, we have the islands of Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and in Africa, Equatorial Guinea, the only country in Africa where the majority are Spanish speakers. Spanish is also widely spoken, though not officially, in Belize, Aruba, Morocco, Andorra, Gibraltar, and in America. And America alone has 40 million Spanish speakers. Famous Spanish-speaking people include the tennis player Rafael Nadal, the actress Penelope Cruz, the actor Antonio Banderas, the F1 racing driver Fernando Alonso, the singer Shakira, the singer Ricky Martin, the artist Salvador Dali, and the painter Picasso. Information on Spanish-speaking people in Australia. Visitantes españoles a Australia es 47,900. Visitantes australianos a España es 905.500. Población australiana residente nacida en España es 15.391. Residentes australianos de ascendencia española es 119.952. Y turistas españoles que trabajan es 2.286. Finalmente, estudiantes españoles en Australia es 6.349. We are now going to talk about the Spanish and Hispanic culture. Religión. The majority of the Spanish population is Catholic. Catholicism has had a great influence on the culture and society of Spain and Latin America. Latin America is home to more than 425 million Catholics, almost 40% of the world's total Catholic population. And the Roman Catholic Church now has a Latin American Pope for the first time in its history. El idioma español. El español es una de las denominadas lenguas romances, que incluye italiano, francés, portugués y romano, y se basa en el latín. As with the other Romance languages, Spanish shares most of the grammatical and typological features, such as the two genders of male and female. Here we see the joke referring to a female. La nueva cocinera es un rayo de sol. ¿Cocina bien? No, lo quema todo. Whereas this one refers to a male. El nuevo cocinero es un rayo de sol. ¿Cocina bien? No, lo quema todo. The Spanish alphabet has 30 letters, the extra being che, ñ, r, and ella. And finally, beware of false amigos. Spanish for embarrassed? No, pregnant. Feliz Año Nuevo, not Feliz Ano Nuevo, or you could get your Happy New Year very bad. Estoy constipado is actually a blocked nose. National identity. The issue of national identity is a sensitive issue in Spain. There is a lot of national pride in Madrid, but Spain also has some of the most regionalist provinces in Europe, for example, the Basque Country and Catalonia. Culturally and linguistically, Latin America is defined as nations in the Americas and the Caribbean whose residents speak predominantly Spanish or Portuguese, two of the main languages that are descended from Latin. Organization of the day. España tiene algunas de las horas de trabajo más largas de Europa, de 9 a 8, con un descanso de 2 o 3 horas por la tarde. Esta pausa es tradicionalmente para una siesta. Sin embargo, la mayoría de los españoles en realidad no duermen la siesta durante estas horas. Debido a lo tarde que termina la jornada laboral, hay una gran cultura nocturna en España. Los centros comerciales y las tiendas de conveniencia a menudo están abiertos hasta las 10. The culture is also seen in Latin America and has also spread to the Philippines, the Middle East, and North Africa. Familia. Family is the most important aspect of life for most Spaniards. Spaniards tend to handle their personal problems through their family, relying on their family members to support them when they find themselves in difficult situations. Also, their children often live with their parents for longer than is common in the English-speaking West, sometimes into their 30s or 40s.
Hola, buenos días. Me llamo Capitán Bruce Legg y yo soy el futuro agregado de defensa para Europa del Sur. Hoy daré una presentación sobre relaciones de defensa y diplomático con España y países con el español como primera lengua. Mostly due to geography, Australia's military relationship with all of the Spanish-speaking countries in the past was limited to an occasional interaction in combined United Nations operations, such as peacekeeping, visits by transiting ships, such as the Chilean tall ship visit to Sydney last year, or when Australia was invited to be part of a NATO or US-led operation, such as in Afghanistan for Op Resolute support, or in the Middle East for the combined maritime forces. Nonetheless, over the past 15 years, the defence relationship with Spain has grown exponentially, with Australia first purchasing military air-to-air refuelling aircraft and most recently 3 different classes of modern warships. Furthermore, the navies from Chile and Peru have exercised alongside our navy every 2 years in the waters off Hawaii for exercise RIMPAC since 1996. Most recently, the former Australian Adelaide-class frigates HMA ships Melbourne and Newcastle were sold to Chile in April of this year. Renamed Almirante La Torre and Capitan Prat, the deal with Chile was reportedly worth 110 million Australian dollars. In terms of military exports, the sale of these 2 frigates to Chile represents a recent expansion of relations with that country. However, the amount of military assets purchased by Australia from Spain over recent decades makes that country one of Australia's significant military partners. The Stockholm International Peace Research Institute rated Spain as the 5th top weapon exporter in the world for 2018. To date, Australia has purchased 2 amphibious assault ships, or landing helicopter docks, LHDs, 3 air warfare destroyers, or DDGs, and 2 logistics supply ships for the Navy, and the KC-30A air-to-air refuelling aircraft for the RAF, which of interest is a standard A330 commercial aircraft built in France but converted to the air-to-air refuelling role in Getafe, Spain. And lastly, there is also Project Air 5431 TAC-1 underway for a deployable air traffic control system. This level of military spending in Spain motivated the ADF to move the Australian Defence Attaché role for Southern Europe, originally stationed in Rome, to Madrid. The Spanish Armed Forces is comprised of the Spanish Army, or Ejército de Tierra, the Navy, Armada Española, the Spanish Air Force, Ejército de Aire, which translate literally as Army of the Air, and the Spanish Marines, Infanteria de Marina, the oldest Marine Corps in the world, formed in 1537 by this chap, King Charles I. It also includes the smaller common corps of the Spanish Armed Forces, the Spanish Royal Guard, or Guardia Real, and the Military Emergencies Unit, or Unidad Militar de Emergencias. As a member of NATO, Spain is expected to spend at least 2% GDP on its military. However, data from the CIA Factbook 2019 shows that Spain, similar to a number of other NATO members, only spends around 0.9% of GDP on defence. And the data also shows that percentage spent on defence has fallen since the mid-1980s. For Latin America, almost every country of Latin America has a military of some degree, and the only two Spanish-speaking countries without its own military are Costa Rica and Andorra. Data from the CIA World Factbook 2019, modelling military expenditure as a percentage of GDP, ranked Colombia 3.5% and Cuba just over 3%, ahead of Australia's 2% and Spain's 0.9%. Of interest, Equatorial Guinea spends the least with just 0.18% of GDP, ranking it 121 out of 123 countries modelled. The Australian government has a network of embassies and consulates general across Latin America. The Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, or DFAT, and Austrade, working closely together to advance Australia's interests in Latin America, particularly in creating conditions for increased trade and investment to strengthen our economy and create jobs. The 7 embassies of Australia in Latin America are in Mexico, Colombia, Trinidad and Tobago, which is English-speaking, Peru, Chile, Brazil, which is Portuguese-speaking, and Argentina. The newest is in Colombia, with it being established only in 2017. While Australia has unique bilateral relations with each independent country, common objectives across the region for Australia are in education, mining and resources, agribusinesses, and finance. Australia and Spain enjoy a significant and deepening bilateral relationship based on solid defence ties, growing commercial links, and a shared commitment to the international rules-based order. People-to-people links between Spain and Australia have been bolstered by the work and holiday visa arrangement. Trade and investment between Australia and Spain is solid and steadily expanding. And the Australia-EU Free Trade Agreement, still under negotiation, will provide further opportunities. Australia and Spain are deepening engagement on human rights issues following the successful election of both countries to the United Nations Human Rights Council from 2018 through to this year. Spain and Australia cooperate closely not just on defence but in other commercial areas. Key companies investing and operating in Australia include Navantia for shipbuilding, Acciona for renewable energy, Ferrovial for transport infrastructure, roads and bridges, Iberdrola for solar and wind, which incidentally recently purchased Australia's biggest listed renewable energy company, Infigen, for $841 million, CaixaBank for finance, and CAF. Think light rail in Sydney, Canberra and Newcastle, and soon on New South Wales country lines replacing the ageing XPT trains. While Spain's foreign policy traditionally focuses on the European Union, the Mediterranean, and of course Latin America, it is broadening its diplomatic and commercial presence in the Indo-Pacific. The Australian and Spanish governments support growing trade and investment links by maintaining policy dialogue on areas of mutual interest. The Australian Embassy in Madrid works with Austrade's Madrid-based office to pursue Australia's economic diplomacy agenda. Spain was Australia's 25th largest goods and services trading partner in 2018. Total two-way trade in 2018 was just over $4 billion, dominated by goods imported from Spain, nearly $3 billion. Australian investment in Spain is significant, with total stock valued at just over $7 billion in 2018. Spanish investment in Australia is valued at just over $1 billion. Major Spanish energy companies are active in Australia with a main focus on renewables. They range from mid-sized players to global energy corporations. Spanish infrastructure companies are leading the way in infrastructure investment in Australia. Clearly, you need to learn Spanish, regardless of what language you are currently studying at DFSL. We can now take your questions. Thank you for your attention. And to answer the question on the slide, yo te amo.